friends, today's construction story is called If I Could Drive a Crane. Would you guys like to drive a crane? In this story, we're going to learn about a little boy who pretends that he drives a crane. Let's see all the really cool things that his crane can do. I'm going to come closer so you can see it up close. My name is Tyler. I think that playing with trucks is the best. My favorite truck is a crane. I like to pretend that my crane is lifting and moving a load of heavy logs. Looks like he's using Lincoln logs. We have them in our classroom. What if I could drive a crane? Would you guys like to drive a crane? It would be fun. You could move all kinds of things. I would move heavy loads from one place to another. That's what cranes are for. There are lots of different kinds of cranes, and I would drive them all. This crane is lifting up a big, heavy cement block. A truck crane has wheels and can go anywhere a regular truck can go. I drive it on the highway to get to a construction site. If you remember, when we read the book about the bulldozers didn't have wheels and they couldn't go on the road. They had these treads that went over top of metal, so they weren't allowed to go on the road. But this crane has wheels, so he can go on the road. Before I can use my truck crane, I have to put down special legs called outriggers. These strong metal legs help keep the crane steady when I'm lifting big loads. See the metal things called outriggers? They hold it so the crane doesn't fall over. Now my truck crane is ready to work. I can extend the crane's arm. To make it bigger. I can also rotate the crane to move a load from one place to another. When I attach a big bucket to the end of the crane's main cable, I can use the crane to dig and to move gravel. So he can extend this arm, and it has a cable, and he can hook all different kinds of attachments onto his cable. Here he's using a bucket. A truck has brought huge bundles of lumber to the construction site. I attach grappling tines to the end of the crane's cable. Now my truck crane can unload the lumber. Then I can move it to exactly where it's needed. So he unhooked the bucket from the cable and he hooked a grappling tine to the cable. And now he can pick up the logs. By attaching a large magnet to the end of the cable, my truck crane can lift heavy pieces of steel. Construction beams and girders are the first parts used when a new building is started. With its magnet, the crane can move the parts with no problem. So he hooked up a great big giant magnet to his cable. And he can pick up the big metal beams because the magnet sticks to them. Another kind of crane is the crawler crane. It doesn't have wheels like a truck crane. Instead, a crawler crane moves on special treads like the bulldozer. There's those treads I was talking about, so he can't go on the road. These treads help the crawler crane work in soft, muddy areas. I'm using my crawler crane to help move fallen trees from a flooded area. So, see that? He's picking it up. It all flooded and the trees fell in. So now he's using this to pick up the fallen trees. For the biggest and heaviest loads of all, I use a bridge crane. It's also called a gantry crane. A bridge crane's legs are very tall and far apart. I use my bridge crane at a seaport. There, I unload big, heavy crates from arriving ships. I lift the crates out of the ships, then place them onto flatbed trucks and drive them away. He's lifting up the big metal box. They call it a heavy crate. Look, here's the heavy crate. My bridge crane can swivel to move its load. So his bridge crane can swivel around and move the big heavy crate. It can also move its load by rolling along on tracks, just like a train. But a bridge crane moves slowly and trains move fast, really fast, it says. See, he has little teeny tiny wheels and he's rolling on a track. My wrecking crane is used for a very special job. I use it to knock down old walls or crumbling buildings. A big heavy wrecking ball hangs from the crane's main cable. Another cable, which I control, pulls the wrecking ball back. When I let the ball go, it swings into the wall and knocks it down. So now he attached to his cable a wrecking ball. You see the wrecking ball? And then he has another cable inside that he moves, and it swings the ball back and forth and knocks down the old building. That's pretty neat. I'd use all kinds of cranes for all kinds of jobs if I could drive a crane. Would you guys like to drive a crane? Do you remember how many different kinds of cranes there are? There are a whole bunch of different kinds of cranes. Do you remember there was a crane that had wheels, and there was a crane that had treads, and there was also a whole bunch of different kinds of attachments. Do you remember there was the grabber attachment that picked up the logs, and there was a bucket attachment that could pick up gravel and dirt. There was a magnet attachment, and there was a wrecking ball attachment. I did not know that cranes had so many attachments. That's really cool. Cranes can do so many things. It would be so fun to drive a crane. Wasn't that a fun story? If I could drive a crane.